Grace's Letter to Lincoln, Chapter 7. The Bedell house buzzed with excitement on Election Day. Papa and Stephen left first to go to the voting polls. Grace and Frederick rushed off to school. Mama, Helen, and Alice began cleaning and cooking in anticipation of the celebration that evening when the election results would be telegraphed to Westfield. After dinner that night, Papa said, "I'm off to the train station to await the election news over the telegraph." "May I come?" Grace asked. "Me too," Frederick said. Papa raised his eyebrows and twisted his mustache. "It is a school night," he said. "Please, Papa, please," Grace begged. "Well," Papa said slowly, "seeing as you are a correspondent of Mr. Lincoln's, it is fine with me. Frederick, too. What do you think, Mama?" "I think I'll join you," Mama said. Papa frowned. "Amanda, don't you think you should stay home?" "I can't vote, but I can cheer," Mama said. Her tone convinced Papa. "Do you want to come, Helen?" Grace asked. "Yes, I do," Helen said, "but who will take care of Una?" "I'll stay home with Una," Alice remarked. "Someone's got to have some sense around here." She smiled at her family. "Now off with you," she said. "I've got work to do." Mama linked her right arm with Papa's. Grace gripped his right arm. Frederick held Helen's hand as the Bedells walked down the hill to the train station, the glowing torches reminding Grace of a field of giant fireflies. Mama jumped as a firework rocketed into the sky. Papa chuckled. "It still tickles me that Grace had the nerve to ride old Abe and suggest he grow whiskers. Why, I would have suggested a mustache like mine." The crowd at the station was much bigger than Grace had anticipated. They joined the McCumbers. Jenny was holding her father's hand. "What's the news?" Papa asked Mr. McCumber. "Lincoln is winning in Ohio, but losing in New Jersey. Douglas is ahead in Pennsylvania." "That's bad," Stephen said. "Old Abe needs Pennsylvania to win." "He needs all the northern states to win," Papa said. All at once, Mr. Rogers, the telegraph operator, burst out of the station. He was waving a paper. Both crowds hushed. "Lincoln's winning New York!" he shouted. "Hurrah!" yelled the Lincoln supporters. "Hurrah for old Abe!" Mr. Rogers waved his paper again. "Douglas is winning in Illinois!" he hollered. The Douglas supporters yelled for their man. "Impossible," Papa muttered. "That's Lincoln's home state." "It is Mr. Douglas's home too, Papa," Grace reminded him. I know," Papa said, "but still." His words were cut short by the explosion of a firecracker nearby. Grace squeezed his arm harder. "I will take the children home now," Mama said to Papa. "Come, Helen, Grace, and Frederick." "But, Mama," Grace cried, "I want to stay until Mr. Lincoln wins." She grabbed on tighter to Papa's arm. Papa peeled Grace's fingers off of his coat. "Now, do as your mother says, Grace. I will come home as soon as I hear anything new." Grace took Mama's hand. Mama held Frederick's hand as they squirmed their way out of the crowd. All the way up the hill, Grace kept turning around, and Mama kept tugging her home. Alice had hot tea ready for them. Sipping it in the parlor, they listened as the fireworks abruptly stopped. "Must be a telegraph message," Frederick said. A shout for Lincoln rattled the windows. "Sounds like Lincoln is ahead in another state," Helen said. The tea and the fire warmed Grace. Despite herself, she yawned. Mama saw it and said, "Grace, Frederick, time for bed. No arguments from either of you," she said sternly. Mama stroked Grace's hair before turning down her lamp. As she did, Grace looked at her poster of old Abe. "Good luck," she whispered. After she closed her eyes, Grace repeated Mr. Lincoln's letter in her head. She had read it so many times she had it memorized. The blast of a cannon made her heart leap into her throat. Grace raced downstairs. Frederick followed. The whole family gathered in the parlor. Mama rocked baby Una, who was whimpering. "What happened?" Grace cried. "Is it a war?" Papa hugged her tight. "Is it the news you wanted to hear?" "Did Mr. Lincoln win?" Grace asked tentatively. "All of the votes have not yet been counted, but he seems to have won almost every northern state." "What was that loud noise?" Frederick asked. "Don't you remember, silly?" Grace said. "On the way home from school, we saw those men rolling the cannon out onto the lawn of the McClurg mansion." "Did someone attack the house?" Frederick asked. "No," Grace explained. "If Lincoln is winning for sure, they were to fire the cannon." "He is, and they did," Papa laughed. "Well, it has just about scared me out of a year's growth," Alice commented. "Grown men playing with cannons at all hours of the night." "Oh, isn't it exciting?" Grace said. "Mr. Lincoln will be president." "I pray the country stays together," Mama whispered. "It will," Papa told her. "The talk of the South leaving the Union, if Lincoln is elected, is all bluster. It is like a threatening storm. All wind, but no lightning or rain." I hope you are right, dear, Mama said sadly. If not, then I'll be off to war, Papa boasted. Not if I have anything to say about it, Mama said. When will Mr. Lincoln be in the White House? Grace asked. Not for months, Papa said. Why not? Grace asked. First, all of the votes have to be counted. Then the president-elect has to travel from Springfield to Washington, Papa explained. He will not officially become president until March 4th of next year. Why do we have to wait so long? Frederick asked. He won. He should be president today. That's just the way things work, Papa said. Maybe he will come from Westfield on his way to Washington, Grace cried out. Papa twisted his mustache. He just might at that. The train from Chicago to New York runs through town. Wouldn't it be wonderful to see him? Grace asked. Thank goodness he won't have a silly beard, Alice said. The clock chimed midnight. It has been a long day for all of us, Papa said. I think it is time we went to bed. I certainly hope they do not fire that cannon again, Mama said. I wouldn't worry, dear, Papa told her. They only had enough powder for one shot. Grace could still hear the shouting for Lincoln down by the tracks as she finally drifted off to sleep.